Have you ever wondered how a tropical fruit ends up as a silky chocolate bar that melts on your tongue? Picture this. Tons of cocoa beans flowing along conveyor belts, precision machinery in motion, and the rich aroma of chocolate filling the air. Before cocoa becomes that irresistible treat, it takes an incredible journey, one that starts far from the factory floor. Deep in tropical rainforests, farmers harvest cocoa pods by hand, following traditions that go back generations. From there, the beans travel thousands of miles, often by ship, before reaching high-tech chocolate factories in countries like the United States. One of the world's largest consumers and producers of finished chocolate products, once inside the factory, science and craftsmanship merge. The beans are roasted, cracked, refined, and transformed into a smooth, glossy confection that Americans consume in staggering amounts, over 3 billion pounds every year. In this video, we'll uncover the entire journey, from the lush cocoa farms of West Africa and Latin America to the cutting-edge facilities in the US where the world's favorite sweet is perfected. Get ready to see chocolate in a way you've never seen before. This isn't just food, it's science, history, and passion. To truly understand chocolate, we have to go back to where it all begins, the tropical rainforest. Here, under the shade of towering trees and in the warm, humid climate of the equator, grows Theobroma cacao, the cocoa tree. Native to Central and South America, it is now cultivated mainly in West Africa, Southeast Asia, and parts of Latin America. Countries like Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Indonesia, Ecuador, and Brazil dominate global production, together supplying nearly all the cocoa used in the chocolate we enjoy in the United States. The cocoa tree is unique. Its colorful pods grow directly from the trunk rather than from branches, creating a striking sight in the middle of the forest. When the pods ripen to a rich orange, yellow, or red, skilled farmers harvest them by hand using machetes or specialized knives. No machines, just human expertise passed down for generations. Once harvested, the pods are split open to reveal the treasure inside. Cocoa beans surrounded by a sweet, tangy white pulp. At this stage, they look and taste nothing like chocolate. The transformation begins with fermentation. The beans, still encased in their pulp, are placed into wooden boxes or piled under banana leaves, where they ferment for 5 to 7 days. Natural microorganisms break down the sugars in the pulp, generating heat and triggering chemical changes that develop the complex flavors we associate with chocolate. Skipping or mishandling this step would result in flat, bland beans. After fermentation, the beans are spread out to dry under the sun on patios or raised drying beds. They are turned regularly to ensure even drying, a process that takes about a week. Proper drying is critical. Too much moisture and the beans can mold during shipment. Too dry and they may lose valuable flavor compounds. By the time the beans are bagged into large burlap sacks, they are light, brittle, and ready for export. From the farms of Ghana, Ecuador, or Indonesia, they embark on a long journey across oceans, eventually arriving at processing facilities in the US and beyond. Here, the first act of transformation is complete. The next chapter, the industrial process, will unlock the true potential hidden inside every cocoa bean. Once cocoa beans are dried and packed, they begin their journey to the factories where they'll be transformed into chocolate. For beans bound for the United States, this usually means a long ocean voyage in burlap sacks that allow airflow and prevent mold. Upon arrival at US ports, shipments are inspected for quality and safety before heading to processing facilities. The first step inside the factory is cleaning. Cocoa beans often arrive with bits of dried pulp, dust, small stones, and even pieces of twine from the farm. Industrial cleaning lines remove these impurities using vibrating sieves, air blowers, and magnetic traps to catch stray metal. This ensures only pure beans move forward. Next comes one of the most important flavor-defining steps, roasting. The cleaned beans are loaded into large roasters, where they're gently heated to temperatures between 250 degrees Fahrenheit and 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 120 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius, for 20 to 40 minutes. Roasting triggers complex chemical changes, especially the Maillard reaction, which develops the deep, rich flavors we associate with chocolate. Notes of caramel, nuts, fruit, or coffee, depending on the bean and roasting profile. In the US, major chocolate producers fine-tune their roasting profiles for consistency. while artisan makers may roast in smaller batches to highlight the distinct character of each cocoa origin. Light roasts preserve fruity, floral tones, while darker roasts bring out bold, intense notes. Roasting also serves a practical purpose. It makes the shell brittle, allowing it to be easily separated from the valuable nib inside during the next stage. It also reduces moisture, helping preserve flavor and preventing spoilage. Over-roasting can burn the beans, creating harsh bitterness, while under-roasting leaves the flavor flat. Achieving the perfect roast requires constant monitoring and years of experience. Once the beans reach their ideal profile, they're quickly cooled to lock in aroma. By the end of this stage, the cocoa has been transformed from raw and earthy to fragrant and full of potential, the foundation for every chocolate bar, truffle, and dessert to come. With the beans roasted to perfection, the next task is to extract the most valuable part, the cocoa nib. The process begins with cracking. The roasted beans pass through a winnowing machine, which breaks them into pieces and uses streams of air to separate the lightweight, papery shells from the heavier nibs. This step, called winnowing, is critical for purity. Even a small amount of shell can introduce bitterness and affect texture. Cocoa nibs are the pure essence of chocolate in its rawest edible form. Small, glossy, and intensely aromatic, they contain both cocoa solids and cocoa butter, the natural fat that gives chocolate its melt-in-your-mouth quality. At this point, the nibs are ready for one of the most dramatic transformations in the entire process. The nibs are fed into heavy-duty mills, roller mills, ball mills, or stone grinders, where they are ground under intense pressure. As the nibs are broken down, their cocoa butter is released, turning the solid pieces into a thick, dark, fluid paste known as cocoa liquor, or cocoa mass. Despite its name, cocoa liquor contains no alcohol. It is 100% pure chocolate in liquid form, with a bold, bitter taste and a rich aroma. This cocoa liquor serves as the foundation for all chocolate varieties. In the United States, large chocolate manufacturers may produce massive quantities of liquor in centralized facilities before sending it to different production lines to create various products. Artisanal chocolatiers, on the other hand, often work with smaller batches, tailoring the grind and particle size to enhance specific flavor notes. In some cases, the cocoa liquor is pressed to separate the cocoa butter from the cocoa solids. The extracted cocoa butter is highly prized, not only in chocolate making, where it adds smoothness and shine, but also in cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. The remaining solids can be ground into cocoa powder, used in baking or hot cocoa mixes. From here, the cocoa liquor will be blended with other ingredients, sugar, milk powder, vanilla, to create the specific chocolate type desired. But for now, in its pure, intense form, it is the soul of chocolate, ready for the artistry and science that will transform it into a finished treat. Once the cocoa liquor is prepared, the next step is to turn it into the chocolate we recognize. This is where precision recipes come into play. In large US chocolate factories, every batch is carefully measured to ensure consistency, while smaller artisanal makers may tweak their blends to highlight specific flavor profiles. For dark chocolate, the mix typically includes cocoa liquor, extra cocoa butter, and sugar. The percentage of cocoa, often listed on packaging, indicates the proportion of cocoa solids and cocoa butter combined. In the US, popular dark chocolates range from 60% to 85%, with higher percentages delivering bolder, more intense flavors. Milk chocolate, a longtime American favorite, contains cocoa liquor, cocoa butter, sugar, and milk powder. This combination creates the creamy, mellow taste that dominates the US chocolate market. White chocolate, while technically lacking cocoa solids, is made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids, offering a sweet, buttery flavor. Once the ingredients are combined, the refining process begins. The mixture is passed through a series of heavy steel rollers, often in a 5-roll mill, that grind the particles down to a size between 15 and 20 microns. At this microscopic level, the human tongue cannot detect graininess, giving chocolate its signature smooth texture. Refining not only improves texture but also ensures that flavors are evenly distributed throughout the mixture. Any inconsistencies at this stage could lead to an uneven taste or mouthfeel in the final product. That's why American manufacturers invest heavily in precision machinery, while small batch chocolatiers often take extra time to fine-tune particle size and consistency. In some high-end operations, this is also the stage where unique ingredients are introduced. Think of sea salt harvested from US coasts, bourbon-infused sugar, or crushed nuts sourced from local farms. While mass-market chocolate sticks to standard formulas, specialty makers push boundaries, turning chocolate into a canvas for creativity. The result of mixing and refining is a warm, velvety chocolate mass that smells intoxicating but is still unfinished. The next steps, conching and tempering, will determine whether this chocolate simply tastes good or becomes a glossy, melt-in-your-mouth masterpiece worthy of the world's most discerning chocolate lovers. After refining, the chocolate mass enters one of the most critical stages of its journey. Conching. Invented in the late 19th century by Rodolphe Lindt, conching revolutionized chocolate making, and today both American and international manufacturers rely on it to perfect their recipes. A conch is a large machine equipped with heavy rollers or paddles that continuously mix, knead, and aerate the chocolate. The process can last anywhere from a few hours to several days, depending on the quality and style of chocolate being made. In the US, mass-market chocolates may conch for 6 to 12 hours, while premium brands, especially bean-to-bar artisans, may extend this process to 48 or even 72 hours. Conching serves several purposes. First, it further reduces particle size, ensuring the ultimate smoothness. Second, it allows volatile acids and unwanted bitterness to evaporate, creating a rounder, more balanced flavor. Finally, it helps fully coat cocoa particles with cocoa butter, enhancing the melt-in-your-mouth sensation that consumers love. Once conching is complete, the chocolate must be tempered. Tempering is a precise process of heating, cooling, and reheating the chocolate to align cocoa butter crystals into a stable form known as Form 5. This structure gives chocolate its glossy appearance, satisfying snap, and resistance to blooming, the white streaks or spots that can form when cocoa butter separates. In the US, tempering is done both manually, especially by small chocolatiers using marble slabs, and mechanically with advanced tempering machines that maintain strict temperature control. Typical tempering cycles involve heating the chocolate to around 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 46 degrees Celsius, cooling it to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius, and then reheating slightly to about 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 to 32 degrees Celsius for dark chocolate, a bit lower for milk and white. Without proper tempering, even the finest chocolate will appear dull, crumble rather than snap, and melt too quickly in the hand. With it, the chocolate not only looks beautiful but also gains a shelf stability that makes it ideal for packaging, shipping, and long-term enjoyment. Conching and tempering are where science and artistry intersect. The slightest misstep in timing, temperature, or technique can alter the outcome, while perfect execution can elevate cocoa from good to unforgettable. Now the chocolate is ready for its final transformation: molding, cooling, and presentation. Once tempered, the liquid chocolate is ready to take shape. It's poured into molds, whether for classic bars, bite-sized pieces, or seasonal designs, and gently vibrated to remove air bubbles. The molds then travel through cooling tunnels that gradually reduce the temperature, ensuring a smooth, flawless finish without cracks. When fully set, the chocolate is released from the molds, revealing its glossy surface and sharp, satisfying snap. It's then packaged by hand for artisanal batches or via high-speed machines for large-scale production, and prepared for shipment. From here, it heads to store shelves, gift boxes, and homes across America and the world. From the lush rainforests where farmers harvest cocoa pods by hand to the precision machinery in modern factories, every piece of chocolate carries a story. It's a story of tradition, skill, and countless hours of labor, of people who dedicate their lives to cultivating, crafting, and perfecting one of the world's most beloved treats. In the United States, chocolate isn't just a product. It's part of celebrations, comfort in difficult times, and a shared joy among friends and families. Every bite connects you to a chain that stretches across oceans and cultures. So next time you unwrap a bar or savor a truffle, remember the journey it took to reach you, the care, the science, and the artistry behind it. If you enjoyed exploring the world of chocolate with us, give this video a like, subscribe for more delicious stories, and share it with fellow chocolate lovers everywhere.